Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, earthlings, peoplings. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend, or you've had a fantastic weekend wherever you are on planet Earth. Well, apparently a couple of people have had a really bad week, a really rough week. Oh, diddums. Anyway, before I come to Megsy and Windsor, I wanted to say that I thought that the Princess of Wales Christmas Carol concert looked sensational, really cosy. And I think it's one of the most successful things that I'm not dissing anyone else in the royal family, but it's just so successful because it's Christmas, it's traditional, it's religious, it's Church of England, embraces all of the things that previous monarchs have done. And I think it's just wonderful, superb, perfection, the way she does it, and she's just so natural. And after the year that she's had, and to hear her say, this time last year when she was doing the previous one, when I was standing outside Westminster Abbey and filming her arrival, she had no idea that she was about to go through the year that she's just been through. And of course, we sympathise greatly. Huge success, Prince William with President Trump. One can only imagine the sort of conversations, I'm sure nothing political, because despite what anyone thinks, the royal family really are not political. That's not their job, it's not their place, it's not their function. Excuse me. People who are nominated for knighthoods, OBEs, MBEs, etc., that's not the choice of the monarch. Those names are put forward. And when you have, for example, a Conservative Prime Minister, then there will largely be people who are Conservative. And when you have a Labour Prime Minister, there will largely be people who are Labour, such as Sadiq Khan. So it's not an endorsement from the monarch personally themselves. I mean, it's worth looking into how these appointments come about. I believe the system has changed recently because there is a man in Gibraltar. I won't say his name. I have tried many years ago to nominate him for a knighthood. He's someone involved with the justice system. He is one of the most spectacular characters I have ever seen. He's very stern, but very fair. And I tried to nominate him. Back in the day when I tried it, I think the committee was in the Bahamas. And the rule was that I not tell the person themselves for fear of disappointment. But could I find two other people to back up my nomination? Like seconding it. Well, that's really difficult because this guy works in the legal profession in Gibraltar, which is really small and really cliquey. How can I approach two people who would no doubt gossip and yet not let this guy know that I'd appointed him? So, in the end, they made it so difficult, I gave up. But I still think he should get a knighthood, even all these many, many years later. I did appear before him, and yes, I won the court case. So, but that's not my reasoning. My reasoning is because appearing before him, and I won't say what kind of a judge he is, he was really good because he wanted to make sure everyone in the court understood what was going on, primarily me, because I was representing myself. And he kind of acted almost like a mediator. And he was just fabulous, the way he handled the whole thing. Anyway, so just to mention that bit about the honours list. Now let's get on to someone's had a bad week. Oh dear. You had a bad day, have you, Meghan and Harry? And there's a really weird quote in this article. It is headed, and it's in the Royal Observer. I've never heard of this one before. TheRoyalObserver.com. Betrayed and besieged. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry lash out over German docks' one-sided takedown in their tough week. Oh, you've had a tough week, have you? You poor darlings. How do you think that this time last year the Princess of Wales felt hearing that she's been named as a racist? And even worse, do you think it might have been a tough week for her, the week of her diagnosis? Do you think that might have been a tough week for William? Do you think it might have been a tough week for the King receiving a diagnosis? That's a tough week. Because this German documentary wasn't sufficiently kissing your royal butts or sucking up to you, that's a tough week. Well, that's if this is to be believed, because it's a little sketchy in parts, but there's an interesting kind of insider's say. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle embarked on separate professional paths, a move that has garnered both attention and speculation. But they're so in love, like salt and pepper, mama puppetry. Well, time will tell, won't it? Become even more and more glaringly obvious, won't it? Now the pair are reportedly letting their opinions be known about the criticisms and betrayals that have followed them in recent weeks. Now this is a sketchy bit. A source told an outlet, okay, Royal Observer, which source, what kind of source told which outlet? So let's take this with a massive dose of salt, shall we? But it is amusing nonetheless. Quote, both Harry and Meghan feel the show is yet another one-sided takedown of them and just want it all to stop. It's like they can't escape their past and are still being judged on things that happened over 5 years ago. You think? Have people not pointed out and mentioned? Has it not dawned on the pair of dimwits? What's Henry VIII famous for? Oh, that was over 300 years ago and he still hasn't lived it down. Oh, that's right, cutting the heads off a couple of his wives. There are even rhymes and songs about it. Kids across the land are taught about this forever after. They think that going on global TV to have the biggest wine fest and bitch about the royal family, who are defenceless to counterclaim their allegations, they think that's going to be forgotten in 5 short years. Are they fucking mad? Well, clearly mad or stupid, aren't they? This is not the world of Instagram, Meghan. This is the royal family. Not just any royal family, the most famous family on the planet. The Windsors. And you married into it. And you thought that you could just do what you like. And then when you say the opposite the next week, everyone will forget what you said the week before that was the complete opposite, that may or may not be lies. 5 Friends, People Magazine, Judge Warby. You think all that's going to be forgotten? You think Finding Freedom's going to be forgotten? I ask again, are you fucking mad, Meghan? Are you actually fucking mad? Dimwit that you married, yeah, I can understand. He doesn't understand. But you, well, I've got something to show you guys, actually. I think I have shown it before. But this might drive home to Harry and Meghan. Bear with me. My brother-in-law brought this glass out. Now, I'll try and hold it against my dark coat so you can see. It's an Edward VIII glass. And of course, he abdicated before his coronation. And it says on the side, long live the king. He was the king, Harry. As soon as his father, George V, died, David became the king. He may not have been coronated, but he was the king. Let me rest assured, Harry and Meghan, there are no glasses and never will be out there saying, long live the Duke of Sussex. You were never anybody in the first place, Harry. You were not the king. 5th in line to the throne, you might as well have been 500th in line to the throne. All this talk of plane crashes, I mean, sick as it is, it's nonsense. It would take something of that magnitude for Harry to have got anywhere near the throne. So, I mean, people who liken David and Wallace to Meghan and Harry, no. It's like likening the Lord and Lady of the Manor to the gardener and the cleaner of the manor. That's what Harry and Meghan are. You were only ever staff. And very noisy, very complaining staff at that. So you think that you're going to go out into the world and rebrand yourselves and everything will be forgotten, forgiven and forgotten so quickly by the public, by the press, by the royal family? No, you can rebrand to your heart's content, Meghan. You can change your knickers, change your company names like your knickers. Every day if you like. No one's ever gonna forget the Oprah thing. Let's say in 10 years' time, after everyone's forgotten about you guys, someone's going to go, oh yeah, Harry and Meghan, what happened there? And they'll make a documentary and they'll go, oh yeah, and there was that Oprah thing. There was that Finding Freedom, Scobie thing. There was the 5 Friends and People magazine thing. They're indelible stains. And I get the impression from Meghan that when she was in Suits, before she married Harry and became world famous, that maybe she could chop and change and say one thing one week and another thing another week, and no one would ever scrutinise or pick her up on it because she just wasn't fucking famous. She had a little fan base. She could do what she likes, say what she likes. And she kind of got used to that, rewriting history, and thought she could continue that into the Windsors. Oh, no, 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 no. In fact, someone should make some glasses that say, Meghan called the royal family racists on Oprah. And they could have a little face of Meghan and Oprah in the middle. And they could have a, what? All the way around the other side of the glass, couldn't they? I'd buy one of them for posterity. I mean, that's what this is. This is for posterity. Let me read that again, Harry, just so I put you in your place. Long live the king. And what's it say on the other side of it? Coronation date, I think. Yeah. Coronation, May 12th, 1937. Edward VIII. Which he never did, but his brother, that because there was a lot of preparation, they kept the same date. And then his brother was crowned on that date. And that changed history, but that was a constitutional crisis. Harry having a tantrum and leaving the country with his stupid wife, that was never a constitutional crisis. I know a lot of people tried to pick it up in the day that it was, but no, it wasn't. It's a stain, Meghan. You are never, ever, ever going to live this down. And it wouldn't matter if I stopped doing videos tomorrow. I never said another word about it. There are literally hundreds of millions of people around the world who will never forget it. The things that you do go in the history books. You want to dress up like an idiot and on red carpets, that's up to you. You want to do weird shit at Birkenhead in a red and purple coat, that's up to you. I'm sure people explained to you before the ramifications of doing this kind of thing when you're a Windsor. Because it's going to go in the history books, it's already in the history books, and it will be raked up at every documentary in the future. And what they're basically saying about this German documentary is, it's not good enough. They weren't nice enough. I don't like it. And those were similar complaints, weren't they, when you were in the royal family? There were no racist headlines, you bloody lunatic. You made all that crap up. Newspapers aren't allowed to use the N-word. It's illegal. No one is allowed to use the N-word. So where were the racist headlines? What, Meghan's beautiful? It's not good enough. I'm devastatingly beautiful. That's her problem. It's never good enough, is it? Well, as I pointed out before, it's like a fisherman's wife, isn't it? Looks like they're going back to their mud hut. And I can't imagine what their Christmas is going to be like. It sounds like they might even be stuck with each other. Or Harry will be in some bedsit, hiding away. Can't cope with the dish throwing anymore. Anyway, your thoughts, theories, opinions. I mean, I say none of those things are ever going to be forgotten. They're in the history books. It's like written in stone now. So what in the hell makes her think that even after 100 years, she could rebrand, if she was still alive even? What makes her think she can ever change it? Is as ridiculous as Wallis Simpson. Let's say human beings live to 200 years old and Wallis is alive today. Is as ridiculous as Wallis trying to rebrand herself as a marriage guidance counsellor? Isn't it? Or a diplomat. Or some shit like that. It's never going to happen. What I'm wondering is, at what point is that going to sink into Meghan's thick skull? It's over. It's finished, love. It's gone. It's dusted. You had an easy ride. You threw it in the bin. You chose to go stomping off to America unless you got thrown out. And my money's on the thrown out bit. All you had to do is behave yourself, dress appropriately, turn up at events, cut ribbons, smile, shake hands. It's really very simple. And then on your off days, you could have done what you bloody well liked. But that wasn't good enough, was it? Well, that's where we are today. As always, thank you very much for listening.